Today's hearing examines the collapse of Lehman Brothers, which on September 15th filed for bankruptcy, the largest bankruptcy filing in American history. Many experts think Lehman's fall triggered the credit freeze that is choking our economy and that made the $700 billion rescue necessary. Over the weekend, we received the written testimony of Richard Fuld, the CEO of Lehman Brothers. Mr. Fuld takes no responsibility for the collapse of Lehman. What's fundamentally unfair about the collapse of Lehman is its impact on the economy and taxpayers. Mr. Fuld will do fine. He can walk away from Lehman, a wealthy man who earned over $500 million.
This is the problem. When we pay people based on the volume of business rather than the quality of business, eventually it's like a game of musical chairs. And when the music stops, the people who don't have a place to sit are the investors.
Paying people based on volume as opposed to quality is just the wrong way to go. And the people in my block in Baltimore, if they perform poorly, they get fired.
Yeah,
they certainly don't get a bonus.
That's how it works in my company.
And Mr. Fuld is going to come in here in about an hour, and you know what he's going to say? He's going to say, it's everybody's fault but mine, but he was a chief guy. Is that right?
He was. He was the captain of the ship, and you know, you're familiar with the expression, the buck stops here. You know, unfortunately, it did stop with him. He took all the bucks.
Richard S. Fuld, Jr., Chairman and CEO of Lehman Brothers. He's been the Chairman and CEO of Lehman Brothers since 1993. And we're pleased to have Mr. Fuld here to testify.
I take full responsibility for the decisions that I made and for the actions that I took. Based on the information that we had at the time, I believed that these decisions and actions were both prudent and appropriate. I feel horrible about what has happened to the company and its effects on so many. My colleagues, my shareholders, my creditors, and my clients.
The bottom line is that since 2000, you've taken home more than $480 million. That's almost $500 million. And that's difficult to comprehend for a lot of people. Your company is now bankrupt. Our economy is in a state of crisis. But you get to keep $480 million. I have a very basic question for you. Is this fair?
Mr. Chairman, your first question was about this slide. Are those numbers accurate? They are accurate the way you have put them up on that slide.
So you've been able to pocket close to $500,000. And my question to you is, a lot of people ask, is that fair for the CEO of a company that's now bankrupt to have made that kind of money? It's just unimaginable to so many people.
I would say to you the 500 number is not accurate. I would say to you that although it's still a large number, I think for the years that you're talking about here, I believe my cash compensation was close to $60 million, which you have indicated here, and I believe the amount that I took out of the company over and above that was, I believe, a little bit less than $250 million. Still a large number, though.
Still a large amount of money. You have a $14 million oceanfront home in Florida. You have a summer vacation home in Sun Valley, Idaho. Yet you and your wife have an art collection filled with million-dollar paintings. Your former President Joe Gregory used to travel to work in his own private helicopter.
When the company did well, we did well. When the company did not do well, sir, we did not do well.
Well, Mr. Fuld, there seems to be a breakdown, because you did very well when the company was doing well, and you did very well when the company wasn't doing well, and now your shareholders who owned your company have nothing. They've been wiped out.
One complaint I've heard over and over again from my constituents was that there seems to be a complete lack of accountability. They see Wall Street executives like you walking away with millions of dollars. And it's very interesting when you were talking about the chart that Mr. Waxman was showed you on the board, you said that it was inaccurate. But I'm going to discount it for you, and instead of 448 million over 8 years, let's say 350. How about that? 350. Is that okay? Can we discount it a little bit? You said it was not accurate. What would you say is accurate?
I'd say that's closer, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Fold, you said earlier in your testimony that at Lehman Brothers, when things were going well, then people would do well, and when things weren't going so well, then people would have cutbacks. And I have to say that I think people looking in have concluded, based on the compensation structure, that when things went well, people did really well, and when things didn't go well, they still did very well.
Look, I am not proud of the fact that I lost that much money. But it does show that the system, our compensation system, did work. But when the firm did not do well, I was probably the single largest individual shareholder. I don't expect you to feel sorry for me. I don't mean that. That's not my point. My point, though, is that the system worked. I'd like this committee also to know I got no severance. I got no golden parachute. I had no contract. I never asked for a contract. I never sold my shares. That's why I had 10 million, because I believed in this company.
And I accept the fact that you are still haunted every night, as you said, by wondering whether you could have done something different, whether this could have had a different ending. But I must say that statement you made that the system works because you lost the value of some of your shares really doesn't sound right to me. What I didn't hear from you, Mr. Fold, was you took responsibility for the decisions you made. In retrospect, you think you should have done some things different, but you don't seem to acknowledge that you did anything wrong. And that, I think, is also troubling to me. Thank you very much for being here. That concludes our hearing for today, and we stand adjourned.